Hey there, we're Shannon and Jerry Arner, your hosts of the Arner Adventures podcast.
We're a minimalist couple driven by intentional living and adventure.
Burned out from the 24/7 grind of running our business, we traded the hustle and the bustle for something more meaningful.
We parted ways with most of our belongings and moved to the coast.
Listen along as we chat about life's challenges, share inspiring stories of those who have taken big leaps to live a life outside of the norm,
and help you live with more intention and less physical and mental clutter.
Each episode is a step toward doing and being just a little bit better for ourselves and the world around us.
Life's an adventure after all. Join us for the ride.
It's the Arner Adventures podcast.
Hello, everyone. I'm Shannon.
And I'm Jerry.
And we are back for episode 176 of the Arner Adventures podcast.
Yes, we are. And what a great time with our guest. We enjoyed the conversation immensely.
Yeah, so today's podcast that Jerry's alluding to, a really special one. It's about a nonprofit that is North Carolina based, sustainable values for sure, upcycle and repurposing, which we really love.
We did, and all kinds of repurposing, from the cardboard that they repurpose for their furniture that they make for people, to the humans they repurpose who have retired and are looking for something to add value to their life.
Oh, I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So we do think that you will love this no matter what. If you are someone who enjoys our content for travel or sustainability, or if you've never listened before, we think that you will really enjoy this story and just a really great feel-good conversation about how you can help too.
Oh, and speaking of new listeners, if you're a new listener here, or if you've been on the ride with us for some time, please leave us a 5-star review or rating, and we will appreciate it.
Thank you for listening for all these years, or thank you for letting us tune into your ears today. Real talk, gift giving can be a nightmare. You either guess wrong, panic buy something weird, or end up sending a gift card that feels like a corporate apology.
Or you just scroll Amazon and hope for divine inspiration. Spoiler, doesn't work.
Which is why we're officially obsessed with Sugar Wish. It's the easiest, most genius gift. You send the link, they pick the goodies, dunzo.
Candy, cookies, popcorn, wine. They even have dog treats, which, yes, Rue and B got.
Rue and B were like, wait a minute, we thought getting adopted was peak? Then Sugar Wish happened where we get to pick out our own gift? Yes.
It's sustainable, fun, and 0% chance of ending up in a landfill or the awkward returns pile.
Head to sugarwish.com, use code ADVENTURES10, and save 10% off on the easiest gift you'll ever send.
Seriously, we sent one while we were recording this podcast. It's that easy.
Again, sugarwish.com, code ADVENTURES10. Gifting handled, treats chosen, Rue and B spoiled, as it should be. Today, we are sitting down with someone who's leading an organization that caught our attention in the best possible way. Mike Gianakos is the Executive Director of Made4Me, a nonprofit that's quietly changing lives in a big way by designing and building custom adaptive furniture for individuals with special needs at no cost to families. But here is what really resonates with us. They're doing it using reused materials, often industrial strength cardboard, turning what most people would toss into something that gives more independence, access, and dignity to people. We first learned about Made4Me through our dear friend Bryony, who some of you have heard us talk about, that she rescued our Betty White a number of years ago. And Bryony was volunteering with the organization and told us all about it. And while the focus of their work centers around helping people with disabilities, this conversation just goes into more of that about purpose, innovation, and how sustainability can truly serve a community. So our guest, Mike, today has over 2 decades of nonprofit leadership experience and is passionate about working with populations that are often under-resourced or overlooked. So we're honored to have him with us today, talking about sustainability, creative problem solving, and building with intention. Mike, thanks for being with us.
Thank you, Shannon. It's great to be here. I appreciate the time and the space to talk about what we love to do.
We like to paint a picture to our audience of where our guest is coming to us from. So can you tell us where you are right now?
So I'm in a very empty office that I'm using for today, just for this interview. Our shop is beautifully chaotic. It is a true shop. So it's a woodworking studio that we use to manufacture and fabricate cardboard. So it very much has the feel of a shop with a small office that we're all kind of crammed in We're a little team of 4 people. And we have tons of volunteers in the space. We have over 350 volunteers that serve us annually. So they're painting, working, priming, sanding, and it's not conducive for conversation. So technically, I am exactly 2 blocks away from the shop in another location. We're in Raleigh, North Carolina. That's where we started, and that's where we've been for the last 8 years.
We're really excited about that. And of course, a lot of our listeners know we're from the Raleigh area. We're happy that this is a North Carolina-based nonprofit as well. So let's start with how, the story behind Made4Me and how you got involved with it.
So I came on as executive director a year and a half ago and at that point, the executive director was one of the co-founders, John Maney, who started it 8 years ago. It started when a gentleman, Jim McGahey, the other co-founder, learned about work that was happening in New York. Adaptive Design is the organization, and they were doing adaptive equipment out of non-traditional materials like cardboard. And Jim was fascinated by this. He came home, he was retired. And what I've learned about people who retire, some are just not built for it. They need constant purpose and need to be working and contributing. So he decided in his garage he was going to start creating things out of cardboard, similar to this work in New York. And because special needs individuals were a part of his family, his close circle, he definitely had a passion for it and purpose for it personally. So he just started in his garage creating chairs that were more suited for an individual with physical needs. And his neighbor, John Maney, just called him over into the garage and was like, "Hey, look what I'm doing. What do you think?" John also retired. Also, I call a doer, someone that really always needs to be contributing with purpose and doing things. They got together and just thought it was fascinating and decided to start a nonprofit. Thought that it was best utilized in service to the community. Both men extremely faith-based and faith-motivated. Started the nonprofit 8 years ago. Second stint of work for John. He wanted to retire again. As he would say, redeployed. And I had been working in nonprofit my whole life, 20 years now. Moved here from New York, so most of my career in New York City, working with marginalized populations. And when I came here, I learned about the organization and the opportunity, and I have a long checklist of populations I've served, from runaway homeless youth to court-mandated youth to substance abuse, people that were different points of life. I was always fascinated and marveled by the resilience of people and being a part of their journey. Special needs was never really a population I directly served. And having a child with special needs, I thought this was something that would connect all the dots for me. So they were crazy enough to hire me a year and a half ago. And things have gone really well, from both just the innovation side of things, but then also as we grow as an organization, the support we've received and the connections we've made in the community.
Were you aware of that this something similar to this was going on in New York when you were in New York, or did you not know until you moved to North Carolina?
Yeah, I had no clue. New York is big. So it's a shame that a lot of beautiful things kind of do get lost in the shuffle. But when I learned about it, I had known that people had used non-traditional materials to create things, whether it was furniture, or if it was to create something more fun and engaging. But never did I see it to meet the needs of cognitive or physical barriers. And I thought that was just genius. So first time I heard about it, and when I saw it, like most people that come into our shop, completely enamored by the process and the strength of it, the ability of it. And I like to equate the cardboard to our community. Whereas, it's stronger than you would think. It provides more purpose and value than you would think. And that really represents our community in many ways. It's the value that special needs individuals brings, whether it's the workforce or just your community. Data shows it's really special. So it's a nice marriage between the two, the purpose and the material.
It's neat.
I love the comparison to the community. I think that's really cool. I mean, gosh, the fact that you use cardboard and reuse it is amazing. I know you talked about how it really came from a retiree who was sort of, for lack of a better word, bored.
Mhm.
But how was sustainability part of that original mission, or was was mainly the charge about helping people with disabilities? Like, what was the main charge of it?
Yeah, it's a good question. The main charge was supporting people who are differently abled and
Okay.
doing it in a way that was cost effective.
Mm-hmm.
The reality for a lot of our families and what they have to go through in order to access items or adaptive equipment, it's not easy. I think one of the misconceptions is, well, there's this obvious need, so it must be getting met, and insurance must take care of it, and it must be a pretty fluid process. But insurance doesn't cover all things, and to go through Medicaid for items, there is a process, and their backlogs happen, and the need is so large, especially in North Carolina. There's an exceptional amount of need because the infrastructure, similar like New York City, there's a huge infrastructure put around supporting special needs individuals. North Carolina is trying to build towards that, so the need really outweighs the abilities to serve them. So it really started there. But because we needed it to be cost efficient, the idea of sustainability and giving second life to something is a foundational part of the model, right? So this is a renewable resource, a recycled material. It is a second life. The cardboard we use, which is recycled and turned into shipping containers, is donated to us. We have an amazing partner based in Virginia that donates it, and we don't have to pay a dime for our cardboard. Yeah. And we're actually doing a cardboard pickup this Thursday. They're called International Paper, and they give us whatever paper they have and cardboard they have, and we use that. So it's tri-wall cardboard. It's thicker than your typical boxes, so that gives it durability, strength, the ability to be put together, stripped down. So the fact that it's renewable, I've learned a lot more about over the recent years. We've done work with NC State to come in and do strength testing and engineering kind of driven tests and data collection on our products, because we want to make sure it's safe. And we want to be able to go to places and say it could support this much weight. And through that process, one of them was an environmental engineer and taught me a lot around the value of what we're using. So it was a secondary aspect of our work, but in many ways, it's the most important part of our work.
How long does a typical piece of furniture made out of this last?
So, we've been around 8 years, and because it's not something commonly done, there's no real kind of reference point. We use our own, which is we have things that have been out there for 5, 6, 7, 8 years.
Okay.
It's cardboard, so it will chip, it will ding, there will be some flaws. Very rarely is it structural based. We do have individuals who are constant motion. We call them our best testers for our product, because they will claw, they might pull, they love to pull, and they're very tactile. So, they'll even use teeth if they can, because the tactile feeling is important for them. So they'll rip and claw through it all. And we always pick it up and fix it and bring it back. So there's a lifetime kind of warranty on it. And we have had products come back that the person just didn't have any use for, whether that part of their development was surpassed or they've outgrown it, and it's still there ready to go. So we will recycle that, right? Even though our items are very specific to every individual who receives it based on measurements and everything we do, we can reuse that cardboard. We can add layers, we can strip layers, we can readapt it for someone else. So the cycle just keeps going and going and going. It's pretty rare that we throw cardboard out.
Do you continue with working with engineers too, to see if you can make it more sustainable and last longer and all that kind of stuff? Is that an ongoing process?
It's a good question. The way we finish it is to add, that protection, right? So you're not getting just something that looks like cardboard. It's painted. There's sealer put on it. We tape and clog every hole and seam, just like if you were doing drywall. And the characteristics of drywall and cardboard, not all that dissimilar in terms of, you know, so you don't really question too much the durability of a wall over time.
Sure.
Right.
Although it is cardboard, right? It's
Yeah.
it's not drywall. We treat it the same way. So that's one thing. The other thing is, I think with the engineers, the focus has been, because the need hasn't been about strengthening weaker points that maybe we see have a little bit more damage or a little bit more, take a little bit more wear and tear. Figuring out how to strengthen those in the fabrication process is something. But the engineers we've had come in, whether they're our volunteers in the shop or a college group that we're working with, we work with a lot of college groups. The real focus around that has been efficiency around how they move and function, because these aren't just chairs that sit there. Some of them recline, some of them slide, some of them plug into other bases. We've done a therapy bench, which is operated as a small leg press. So when cardboard being the primary resource that we're using, we use PVC pipe for certain things, and we try to stick to more corrugated plastics if we need to. But essentially, we never stray too far away from it being a recyclable material. So the engineers have fascinating ideas. And it doesn't take an engineer. Our director of operations, Michelle, who's been there essentially since day one, she is the interface between the family and us and the therapist. So it really takes a village to figure out what the family needs. Michelle is just such an innovative thinker, constantly thinking, well, you're going to want your child to be comfortable. Why don't we slide it back? Or would you want them to sit at different degrees? So Michelle asking all those questions and then coming to the shop drives the innovation behind a lot of this. She's providing the need and let's think without restriction. The engineers do what they love, which is figure it out.
Last year in 2024, you had served 200% more families than the year prior. Is that growth due to more people finding out about it? Is it due to, I don't know, there is for some reason is a more need, or what do you attribute that growth to?
Yeah, it's a great question. The even more interesting thing about that is that growth happened this year, so that we're in the growth.
Okay.
So that wasn't even a full programmatic year. We're projecting to be there. We've already surpassed in Q3 our service goals.
Wow.
So to answer the question, which I've been putting a lot of thought and we've been having a lot of discussions about, it definitely is kind of the intersection of a lot of different things. We've been more public facing. We've been a part of more meetings that are happening between other organizations. We've presented to more folks about what we do. We've been more of a presence sitting at presentations with the city of Raleigh or other organizations and services, especially these individuals. So I think there's been just more community visibility. Also, I think the relationships that are developed when our volunteers come in and work with us or with our families, word of mouth only builds every year, right? You're adding more families and more families. I think that coupled with being really the one of few options for a family that is on a waiting list or trying to figure it out and doesn't know what to do in the meantime, and the need increase. I think there's definitely, as we see everywhere, there be, I think, cities and states trying to deal with multiple marginalized populations. Folks with special needs kind of I like to say there's a spotlight, and we tend to never be in the middle of the spotlight. We're on the vignette. We're there. We're dealing with the same challenges, but we're just don't ever seem to be at the center stage of it. So I think we've seen a lot of more center stage, a lot more need for there to be more responsiveness around equity with other things coming into play, where there's, anytime there's a discourse about something, there's always going to be the kind of appropriate match of energy, which is like, this is important. So I think you're seeing a lot of people really speak around the importance of diverse places and equitable access. And we do that. Our items provide the access in schools and home, in the community, for there to be equitable learning experiences. So I think just we're also riding a wave of people that want to see families thriving.
So that helps with your volunteers. I guess you're staying up with enough volunteerism to keep this thing going, huh?
Yeah, no shortage of volunteers.
Nice.
Oh, good.
That's a beautiful thing. We're
Yeah.
reinvesting in that by just providing as much celebration and community as possible. We have become, our volunteer base ranges from high school students that come in. We have special needs students that come in. So we have high schools and local programs working with everyone from high need to low need to traumatic brain injury. So they come in through a service learning project where they learn soft skills in the shop, setting up your workstation, breaking it down, hands-on, kinesthetic learning, working in teams that will hopefully they'll be applying to the workforce, right? So the special needs volunteers, that is a very powerful thing we're doing. And we like to think that we are a place, I've seen so many volunteers come in, many of which are in their second life of retirement or finding other purpose, and to see them reconnect with things that they felt maybe were missing in their lives. It's a beautiful thing. Sometimes we have to tell them you can't come as often as you do because we have to spread the love. And everything we do is product. So you're coming in and working with your hands on things. It's a balance between the assembly line and the amount of volunteers to be on that line. So we try to spread the love a lot. But I think if we let everyone come every day, we'd have volunteers that would do that.
Gosh, that's a good problem to have.
Great, yeah. In a sense, you're repurposing humans too. When they retire, they need
that's it. It's recycled, right?
Are you referral based where like social workers or caseworkers refer people to you, or can people self-refer? How does that work?
Yeah, any way you get to us is perfectly fine. We do need a therapist to be a part of the process. So the majority of folks that find us will find us through a referral. That could be a therapist they're working with. So a therapist may say, I think they have something. I've seen them work with other clients that I have. Go to Made4Me. They could probably help you out. Schools now know us and reach out to us if they have a classroom that they want to make more equitable and accessible, especially if they have a certain student that is now mainstreaming maybe into a classroom that has different needs. Or people just see us on the news or see us on a podcast, and they can go to our website and just say, I have a child, I have a sister, I have a brother, that has a need I think you can help me with. As long as throughout that process, a therapist is involved, that's all we need. And if someone doesn't have a therapist, we know therapists. So we have a couple on our board, so we can bring them into the process. The importance of the therapist is we're coming with our knowledge and abilities. We want them to help guide from their expertise to make sure that there's things that we're doing that are supportive to a plan, that aren't going to hinder a plan, especially if there's physical needs involved. So they're an important part of that kind of village to come together and say, okay, we know we need legs at a 90 degree, right? We know that we need their neck to be supported a certain way. So really there's no restriction on who could access this. As long as you find us, congratulations. You're part of the family.
Is each piece custom made for that person, or is there like a set I don't know, like handbook or template for desks or chairs, or how does that work?
Yeah, we definitely have prefab cutouts and plans of things because most of the items will be meeting a need that we have met. So whether it's a floor chair, a high chair, a therapy bench, we just started doing toddler wheelchairs, which is very exciting. So we develop plans on how to do it. The customization comes when we meet the child or the adult, whoever we're working with, and we do measurements. So no need is replicated the same in any one person. So their leg measurements, there are measurements. We do over 20 measurements. So when we go back and build, we're honoring whatever they need and fitting it exactly to their physical needs, as well as any cognitive needs that may be there. We worked with a school recently and did sensory desks for a classroom of children that were on the spectrum that supported creating safe spaces for them, but also executive functioning in that cubicle. So there are things that like that is a pretty standard thing. We really don't need to make that desk fit the person as much as their need cognitively.
Yes.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And the needs are pretty diverse. So it's always different. But the prefabs help us. We also, I should say, just one of the part of the engineering things we also do, we have CAD design, which is 3D designs. So when those measurements are done and we know what we want, we have a CAD designer create a 3D rendering of what we want to make. That helps guide the building process. So while we may have prefabs on seats and chairs and armrests and these other things, easels, you can adjust from there to add length, to retract length, meet a certain need. But the CAD design is also a part of the process.
Do you have people that come and I'm just thinking like off the street and says, I want to buy one of these? Do they do it, and can they?
The closest thing we've done to that is we would accept, we would do something transactional with the therapy office.
Okay.
Purely because we understand that sometimes they'll have grants that are supporting this, like to be able to access this, and we know that it would be beneficial to us. The beauty of our device and items are they can go home. So a therapy bench at a therapist's office is heavy. They're expensive. Some of them cost $800, $1,000, $1,200. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And they're heavy and bulky. Ours are not that expensive, right? They're expensive in our time and our commitment, but they're cardboard. They're light. You can throw it in a car, bring it home, and now you're able to build and add to your therapy plan at home, right? We really do not want to accept any payment from a family, even those that are in a good position or feel like they're financially able to do so. That's great. You can make a donation. You can donate it so that we can continue to find families that really need this, as just like you, but maybe aren't in the position you are. So transactions are not something we do. So
Okay.
Donations. We have corporate groups come in. We ask them, hey, as part of the experience, please make a donation. Everything we do, everything we make goes right back into the projects. We're a small team. We pay rent like anyone else in a small shop. Everything we do is right now cycling back into projects, which I think helps with why we're doing why we had a 205% annual increase.
So in order to keep this afloat, do you do fundraisers, or are you kind of getting the word out to people to say, hey, we need funds to keep this going?
Yeah, absolutely. Everything we do is it only happens because of the hearts of the community and the giving. Individual giving, corporate donations and grants. That's how we do what we do. So we have events. We have fun ones like bowling events. We just recently had a gala for the first time. I think it was well received and people loved it. We do annual giving campaigns every November and December. So taxes right around the corner. Here's your last chance to give. It's very standard nonprofit practice. We try to just tell the stories. When I see that as an opportunity to get people in a room, I always think about the importance of honoring the community we're in service to, and the best ways for them to tell their stories. And for those stories to not be something where poor us, because that's not the story. The story is we're amazing. We're strong. We are resilient. The value we add to your community is something you should actually want and appreciate. Sharing those stories from that perspective is really honoring them. So we do that a lot. We do that all year. We've done well, luckily. I will share that. I think many people know it's a tough time right now for nonprofits. Nonprofit giving and donation receiving has always went where the market goes. So if the market's down, giving's down. If it's up, giving's up. We're no stranger to that. The tough parts now with the questions around certain legislation, and will people be able to receive exemptions like they have in the past? There's a lot right now in play that if you look across the board, giving's down significantly,
Yeah.
more so than recent years. We know that it gets tougher sometimes before it gets better. So right now, I will say to anyone who's watching this, if you do support an organization, they need you now more than ever. And it doesn't matter who you are. Everyone right now is really trying to figure out how to sustain. So you can donate to us if you feel so inclined at our website. When you do donate, I can promise you it's going towards a project. We're trying to get toddlers wheelchairs, which really don't exist. And if a kid can self-propel at 1 and 2 years old, wow, doesn't that just change their scope of the world?
Yeah.
Toddler wheelchairs we're working on, we're trying to fundraise for. We're trying to do more fundraising for our service learning project so that we continue to provide a space that's safe for special needs individuals to come in and work and learn, and then hopefully enter the workforce and continue to be valuable assets to their community. So we have a lot of projects we're raising for. And so please give us a look. And if it vibes with you and what you're passionate about, I could tell you, I've been in this work for 20 years. It's a good organization to invest in. Would
you say that is your biggest pain point or challenge right now is funding?
Yeah. So while scaling is happening, and that's great, we're scaling. We had a good year. The capacity to do the work needs to scale appropriately, right? Gotcha. So that's where our investment needs to go. More families being served, which we're doing already. The capacity to do that, to make sure that we can reach a family a week sooner. If we can get them the item a week sooner, that means a lot to us, because we know what every day is like for our families. Yeah. So right now, it's the capacity is our biggest need. Space is our biggest need. We pay rent like any other business, and I will not get on my soapbox around how I feel that we should never have to pay rent as a community resource and nonprofit. But at this point in time, we do. So we need a bigger space. We're looking at those things. So right now, any gifts that come in, any support, whether it be in kind, if you have a space in Raleigh, I'll take it. It's really about making sure that we're scaling with our work, and the need right now is big. Yeah. And we can only do so much. We have 18,000 children in the Triangle area alone identified as special needs. And that's a lot of kids, and we're the only one doing it. So.
Wow. Okay. Well, before we share that information, we're going to get to your Fast Five. This is just fun, this or that, a better way to get to know you as a person. Do you want to start? Or do you want me to?
You can start.
Okay. So the first one is coffee first or dive right in?
Oh, coffee. Yeah. This is supposed to be fast, but here's a fun story. When I started working in Manhattan when I was younger, and I just started getting into the work, I said I wasn't going to be a coffee person. Because if you picture someone in Manhattan walking around, it's coffee in one hand, right? Yeah. And she asked, "Are you being one of those people?" Because I would get coffees every now and then, and I was like, "Never." And now I think I'm on my fourth right now. Maybe problematic for my health, but always coffee first.
Okay.
We are too.
We are too.
Yeah. Well, number 2, New York hustle or Southern slow-paced living?
Ooh. Oh,
but North Raleigh is not that slow paced. So.
Well, I moved here for a reason. The slow pace, the courtesy, the community support that everyone has. I've never been in New York City. I've never been stopped on a line and have a 20-minute conversation with someone I've never met before, just around what I was buying in my hand. And that whole nature here of those conversations are natural. They're cool. They're, in New York, you do that and people just think you're nuts. But there is something to be said about that feeling. I guess is more personal and kind of nostalgic for me, of being in a very big city and being such a small part of it. And being able to just pull away on a bench, read a book, have your coffee, and no one's even looking at you. You're just you're part of this movie happening in front of your eyes. I do miss that sometimes because I like to hide sometimes. I'm a I'm a neurodivergent person myself, and
Right.
as much as you're seeing me and saying he's pretty good on camera, I'm crippling inside. So it's
Oh
That reminded me of the story too of John Lennon in his last years when he lived in New York and he lived in the Dakotas, and he said, "It's one place I can disappear. I can walk
yeah,
down the
yeah,
street and
yeah,
nobody will even look at
yeah,
me," you know?
there is
yeah,
something to be said for that,
Yeah.
for walking down the street and
mhm,
no one really caring at all what you're doing.
correct,
Where
exactly.
it is more difficult, I think here, well, especially where we are, but even in Raleigh, it's more difficult
Yeah.
than it
Oh,
would
yeah.
be in New York.
Mhm.
Well, I don't miss that,
Mm.
and I miss some of the food. You guys are good here. I like the food here, but my bagels are my bagels.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure.
Right.
Okay, number 3, DIY or delegate?
Oh man, delegate because I am very aware and cognizant of my skills, and
Yeah.
when I hear DIY, I instantly go to which is maybe not the point, but I instantly go to creating something and building with your hands because
Mhm.
that's the work I'm around. I love trying, but it is not my forte. Um, and I do think delegate's a pretty corporate word. When I think of it, I think of um, giving space
Uh-huh.
for people to shine, to
Yeah, with their
use
own
their
talent.
skill, right?
Mhm.
I'm not someone who thinks I can do anything better than anyone else. So the every great team provides facilitative leadership, the ability to just make decisions and do what you do really well without someone else there thinking they know how to do it best.
Mhm.
So I'm an artist. I do like DIY stuff. I do like art, but if we're fixing a kitchen sink, my wife's there helping me and she's the one that's doing it pretty much. So
Oh, wow. Okay, that's good to know.
that's her skill set.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
And well, we're gonna move along. Number 4, power lunch or picnic in the park.
Oh, that is where I cannot shake the New Yorker.
Uh,
I'm power lunch or honestly no lunch. I didn't eat today, and it's
Oh.
I get it problematic. It's not good for me, but it's yeah. But I'll tell you, a picnic sounds great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would love to create more space for myself to do that. But
Yeah.
I am a power through the day kind of guy.
Yeah. That's definitely New
Yeah.
York for sure.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so number 5, create from scratch or repurpose what's around.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love repurposing. I think one of my biggest loves of anything is going to a thrift store. I'm a thrifty. My daughter, who's 16, she makes her own clothes. She's very much salt of the earth, like creative and very interesting fashion, talented person. So we go to thrift stores, get material, get clothes. So
Oh,
I
wow.
love finding things, giving them new homes. Working that's where I will do a little DIY, restoring a table or a bench. From my art background, I like doing that. And I also like to think how things could evolve without creating something new, just in general, ideas. I'm fascinated by the evolution of ideas.
Mm,
I think I love how things that were created decades ago are still used efficiently today and have not been
yeah.
recreated. So anytime I see those items, whether it's a tool or even a process, I just think, wow, that's fascinating. It's older than these buildings. Some of these processes we still
Yeah.
use.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so
Yeah.
I am a reuse it guy, give it a new life guy all the way for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do
Yeah.
love that.
Me too. I
Yeah.
think that we're both like
Yeah,
that.
I will
yeah.
say, do you know any good thrift stores? I have one I love. Do you have a favorite? Do you guys go thrift storing?
We are very reserve on like we will fix something before we need to buy it.
Yeah.
And if we do buy it, we'll go like to there's a local one here, Loaves and Fishes. But we're big like if we need something for I don't know, an event and we don't have anything, we'll go on Poshmark online and
Yeah.
buy it that it's
Sure.
reused because it's just as easy as when we buy something brand new from a store and have it delivered, We
Yeah.
just rather would repurpose it.
Yeah, well, in learning about your own personal mission and what you all do, I thought it was fascinating. I thought it was really interesting.
Oh,
I
thank
think
you.
experiences mean so much more than any item, and so very cool what you all have done. And I hope you come by the shop. I do hope.
Oh
you
my gosh, we
Yeah.
would love to do that.
Definitely.
I would love to
I
do
would
that. Next
love
time
it.
I'm in Raleigh, I will definitely should let you know that we're coming through
Our,
to see
our
the
desks are
stuff.
made of cardboard. We have tables made of cardboard. If you think repurpose, reuse, we're living it.
I would love to see it in person. I've seen some stuff online, but I would love to see it in person.
I'd like to see the process too. I
Yeah.
think it'd be fascinating. To see
Yeah.
how you put them together. Yeah.
Well, the question we ask every guest, and we would love it for you to answer it too, is what does a life well lived mean to you?
Yeah, that's, I thought I had a thought on that, but now I changed my mind. Maybe, I don't know. A life worth lived. For me, I can only speak for myself, right? Because everyone's life is their life. For me, I found that I used to say purpose. And then I found that in this work we're in my work, it's taxing. It's a lot of work. You give a lot of yourself personally, professionally, to running a nonprofit, like any business owner, really. And I think for me, purpose started becoming a hard thing because I felt who am I if I don't have purpose? I think there's an intersection between purpose and passion. And I think meeting one or the other without the like one by itself is not as important to me as the other. So having that sense of purpose, and for me, it is serving community. It is making sure that all people are loved, all people are valued, and my passion around creativity, art, those things. So that little intersection between purpose and passion for me is, if I can live my life and know that that's been central to it. I love my kids, my family, my friendships, all those things still connect to my purpose and my passion. So that's it for me.
I love that.
I like that too.
When he said that, I was thinking, again, I shared with you before we got on here that we had a really rough year last year. And one of the things that kept coming up with me and in lots of therapy was I want to know and feel fulfilled that I have a purpose and that there is a purpose. But I love the way you put it about, the intersection with purpose and passion. I love that. I think that's a beautiful answer.
That is, and that's the unique part.
Yeah.
Is the way you state it.
And on any given day, you may need to slide more to the other. The intersection is there for a reason, but on any day, it should be all passion. Sit down for me, sit down with my canvas, draw, sketch. Don't worry about if there's intention for it or purpose for it, right? And some days you need to be very purpose oriented, right? I appreciate the question because I was just thinking about this last night. Honestly, it's something I constantly think about. So
I love that. I love that you constantly think that. That's great. Well, before we wrap up, we do want to let everyone know, and we are going to link all of this down in the show notes. What is the best way for someone to, get in touch with you, find out more about Made4Me, all of that?
Sure. Our website, it's made4me.org. So you can make sure it's the number 4 if you're typing and not clicking. And there you can get information on volunteerism, our events, donations. We have tons of pictures of products we've made. We have a lot of great storytelling on there, some videos, again, capturing the voices of our community. So them telling their stories. So you can learn a lot about our community, learn a lot about us. And that would be your hub to either volunteer, request an item, request consultation for an item, start that process, or donate. And, I will say the donation part is something that we know not everyone's in the position to do. My whole view on this is a lot of people doing a little bit. So spread the word. The best thing you can do is tell people we exist, can share our story and make sure people know we're here.
Yeah. Well, we hope that we can definitely contribute to that and get the word out about it and then get some donations in for you. But this conversation has been so great, and we're so thankful that you took the time, especially since you didn't eat today.
Well, we should get to that. Soon. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having us.
Sure.
If this episode resonated with you, or if you know of someone who would benefit from what we talked about, please share it with a friend.
It's a great way of supporting the podcast, and we really appreciate it.
Another way of supporting the pod is by leaving us a 5-star review or rating on the platform you are listening to us on.
And go ahead and hit that subscribe button. That also supports us. You can always find us, the show notes, and sponsors who support the podcast at arneradventures.com.
And until next time, enjoy the journey you're on. We're wishing you lots of adventures.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.